Good day everyone. I'll be presenting about the basics of web development. My focus is on three important modules: workflow, structure, and style. These are the foundations of building websites. Let's get started. Workflow is simply the process system developers use to build projects. Having a workflow keeps coding organized, saves time, and avoids errors. It includes using text editors, version control, and browsers for testing. The first tool in our workflow is a text editor. This is where we type our HTML, CSS, and other code. A good text editor helps by showing colors for tags, suggesting code, and helping us find mistakes quickly. Some popular ones are Notepad++, VS Code, and Sublime Text. Installing a text editor is easy. Just download from official website and follow the steps. Once installed, we can add extensions like server in VS Code to instantly preview changes. We can also adjust the look, font size for themes to make coding more comfortable. Next, we use version control. This is like a time machine for your code. It keeps track of changes, lets us undo mistakes, and make teamwork easier. The most common version control system is Git. Version control tools work with platforms like GitHub, GitLab, and Bitbucket. These websites allows us to store code online and share with others. They're especially useful when collaborating with teammates. Browsers also help us through their developer tools. In Chrome, for example, we can right-click and inspect elements to see the HTML and CSS. We can even edit styles live to test changes before saving them in our code. Now let's move to Module 2, the structure. Just like a house needs a solid frame, the web pages need structure. This is where HTML, CSS, and the DOM come in. The Document Object Model, or DOM, is like a family tree of a web page. Every heading, image, or link is a node on this tree. The browser uses the DOM to understand and display the web page correctly. HTML is the skeleton. It tells the browser what's on the page. CSS is the clothing or design. It makes the page look nice. Without CSS, HTML pages are very plain. HTML works with tags and content. For example, Hello World uses p tag to show a paragraph, and the text Hello World is the content. Tags tell the browser how to display the content. To avoid errors, we use HTML validation. Tools like the W3C validator checks our code and point out mistakes. This is very helpful in solving problems before they cause bigger issues. Before coding, it's helpful to visualize or draw your web page. Think of where the header, menu, content, and footer will go. This makes it easier to organize the HTML structure. The last module is all about style. This is where we use CSS to add color, spacing, and design to make a plain page look professional. CSS can be added in three ways: inline CSS directly inside a tag, internal CSS is inside a style block, and external CSS is a separate file. External is the best because it keeps things clean and reusable. CSS has many properties. For example, margin and padding adjust spacing, font and color control how text looks, and background can change colors or add images. Fonts are the important part of design. CSS lets us pick font families like Arial or Times. We can also use Google Fonts to add more modern styles. Different browsers have different default styles. A CSS reset removes this, so our page looks the same everywhere. One popular reset tool is normalize.css. To avoid CSS errors, you can use CSS lint. Another very useful tool is Chrome Developer Tools, where we can inspect elements, change colors, test layouts, or debug issues directly in the browser. In summary, the workflow provides us the tools, the structure builds the skeleton of a website, and the style adds design and personality. By mastering all three, we take our first real steps as a web developers.
Now I will show you how to create a clean and modern web page about artificial intelligence. This page is simple but includes a bit more design to look professional. Let's get started. First, we need a text editor to write our code. I'm using Notepad++, and to see our web page, we'll use a web browser like Chrome or Microsoft Edge. This is our basic HTML skeleton. The title sets the browser tab title, and the link tag connects our CSS file so we can style the page later. Doctype HTML. This tells the browser that this document is an HTML5 page. HTML lang equals n. This starts the HTML document and sets the language to English. Head contains meta information like page title and links to CSS files. Metachar set sets the characters encoding so special characters shows correctly. Title the title of the web page that appears on the browser tab. Link rel stylesheet connects the CSS stylesheets named styles.css to style the page. Body this contains all the visible content on the page. Next, let's add the actual content inside the body tag. We've added a header with navigation links, 3 sections for content, and a footer. Notice how we use sections to organize the content clearly. Header, this is the top part of the page, including the main heading and navigation. H1, main heading, title of the page. Nav, navigation menu containing links. UL, unordered list, bulleted list, or navigation items. LI, list item inside the navigation. Href, a section links that jumps to different sections within the page using IDs. Section defines a section or group of related content. ID equals definition. This ID lets us link directly to this section from navigation. H2 subheading for the section, and the P paragraph for some explanation. Another section with a heading and a bulleted list of examples. UL plus LI. Section including text and an image. Shows an image, the alt attribute describes the image if it fails to load. Footer, the bottom part of the page, usually a copyright or contact info. P paragraph containing text. Let's now switch to our CSS file, styles.css, to give the page a clean, modern look. This CSS gives us a nice layout, a soft background, neat cards for each section, a bold header, and a good spacing. It also ensures that everything looks clean on all devices. The selector targets all elements, resets default margins and padding to 0 for consistency across browsers. Box sizing, border box, makes sizing elements easier by including padding and border in width and height calculations. Body styling sets the font to Arial, a clean, readable font. Light gray background color adds padding around the whole page, dark gray text color for readability. Header styling. Dark background color for header, while text color to contrast with the dark background. padding to give some space inside the header, text centered horizontally. Removes default bullet points, uses flexbox to arrange the menu items horizontally, centers the menu and adds space between items, styles the links with a soft gray color, and hover link color changes to bright blue for a nice effect. White background for each content block to stand out from page background. Adds margin vertically and centers section horizontally. Padding inside sections to give space around text. Rounded corners. Subtle shadow to create depth. Headings and lists. Blue color for subheadings to make them pop. Space below headings. Bulleted lists use square bullets and padding for indentation. Image styling. Makes the image take full width of its container. Add some space above the image. Rounded corners for a smooth look. Footer styling. Centers footer text. Add space above footer. Smaller font size and gray color for subtle appearance. After saving both files in the same folder, open index.html in your browser. You should see a neat modern web page with a header, navigation, content, sections, and footer all styled nicely. This is what our final web page looks like. Clean, readable, and user-friendly. Thank you very much for listening.